Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare in Depth. In today's episode, I want to show you the new Akimbo Snakeshot. As you may have seen from Exclusive Ace's video earlier this week or read in the patch notes, the Akimbo Snakeshot pistols have been nerfed and are now much less effective, especially in Warzone. However, the Akimbo Renetti is almost as good, if not better in some situations. It's always been good, and I think that it's a fantastic weapon to run. We're going to be talking about the benefits of it today, but just as a brief example here in the beginning of the episode, I want to show you a win that I got with this weapon exclusively, and I might not have won with anything else.
One's right below you guys in the garage. Right below you. Literally, like, on the outside of the garage. Right below you. Right next. We're directly underneath you. Right there. You have C4. He's dead. Nice. That's his teammate, though. Last one. Nice, redneck. Good shots. He's hurt, Drifter. There you go. Shit, boys.
Oh, boy.
That is 2 wins with the Akimbo Renettis. These things are nasty. This is going to be a permanent class for me. Okay, so let's talk about reasons to use the Akimbo Renetti. It deals a ridiculous amount of damage per shot. It'll deal 72 damage to the head up close and decrease down to 50 at range, and this number is ridiculous for any weapon, much less a pistol and much less one that shoots very fast. The chest damage is 42 to 29, and the torso is 34 to 25. What this means is that is 8 bullets to kill, even if you're only hitting lower torso. So in the worst case suboptimal scenario where you're hitting lower body and really missing a lot of your shots, that's only 8 bullets to kill, which is better than a lot of the rifles and SMGs in Warzone, or 2 trigger pulls. However, if you get just 1 headshot or a couple of upper body shots, that's going to turn into 6 shots or less to kill. And what that means is that is 1 single trigger pull of both Renettis, and a player is instantly deleted, finito, and gonzo, and kind of have to be panicked or pretty off of your aim to hit those lower body shots. Another added benefit to these pistols that I embarrassingly forgot to cover in the original in-depth episode is that adding lightweight trigger will greatly reduce your burst delay and make them nearly full auto, or at least they'll feel full auto. So the lightweight trigger on other pistols will increase the fire rate cap so you can pull the trigger faster and shoot faster, but on the burst pistol, what it does is reduces the burst delay, and it reduces it a lot, like a very significant amount that you absolutely will feel. You don't even need the numbers for. You can just try it out side by side and you will immediately feel the difference, and you can shoot very, very fast and get a lot of very fast follow-up shots very effectively. On top of this, each magazine, when properly equipped, will have 27 rounds in it, and you've got 2 of them, so you have 54 rounds available of high damage bullets. And these are very fast firing, decent range, high damage bullets, so there is a lot of DPS that this gun can just absolutely crank out on enemies. No sponsored segment today, though I did want to give a shout out to myself. I'm actually doing a giveaway right now of Astro A40 headsets and an Xbox One SCUF controller. So if you're interested in winning the Xbox One SCUF or the Astro A40 headsets, just click the link down there in the description. It takes you to a video of the giveaway, which in itself, again, has the link, but the video explains it better than I ever will in a very brief sponsored, self-sponsored segment here. Let's move on to the rest of the in-depth episode. Most weapons in Modern Warfare have some sort of movement speed delay, as some sort of penalty associated with it, might be a better way to say it. If you're running a light machine gun, you're going to run slower than a submachine gun or a shotgun. A lot of the attachments you'll see have movement speed penalties. You just can't run as fast with one compared to the other. And in most cases, in Warzone in particular, since you're going to be running bigger mags and heavier weapons, you're almost never going to be moving at your full movement speed. But as you may have seen, probably on Ace videos again, the fists, the normal like plain Jane fists that you have if you don't have a secondary weapon, are 100% movement speed, which is why some people throw their gun away, swap to the fists, then sprint away from the zone. And pistols actually allow you to move faster than 100%, which is a little bit confusing. That's up to 103% movement speed, if I'm not mistaken. So the Renetti will give you 103% movement speed, but if you put the 27 round mags on there, which I think are essential for the build, there's a movement speed penalty. When you add these up, like do the little test and calculate, what you'll see is that the Renetti with the 27 round mags still gives you 100% movement speed, which is probably faster than any other weapon that you're going to have because you're probably running extended mags in Warzone. So even swapping to the Akimbo Renetti that has some penalty is faster than anything else that you're likely to be running. A surprisingly fun benefit to this is that you can also shoot them while you climb up a ladder. Ladders are very spooky in Warzone, especially people that camp up inside the fire stations. Since you have 2 of them, you can actually shoot one of your pistols on the ladder as you climb. You can look left, right, any direction, peek the top, and usually the ladder in Warzone means you're definitely gonna die if you go up there because you can't fight back. This allows you to actually push people that are hiding in like goofy little ladder spots. I wouldn't do it all the time, but it's a very nice thing to have. The maximum damage range without any other attachments is 14 meters, which is way more than the 357 Snake Shot ever had. The 357 Snake Shot was never a 14 meter pistol, though to be fair, you are not likely to hit your shots with the Akimbo Renetti at that range either. It'll maintain the damage, but you're probably just not going to be very accurate, so in my opinion, you should use these up close. You should truly treat these like a replacement to the Akimbo Snake Shot. Adding the 5 milliwatt laser will reduce your sprint out time down to 83 milliseconds, which is one of the fastest sprint out times in the game. That is ridiculously snappy, and it will increase your hip fire accuracy by tightening up the box. There are some arguments to be made to running the 1 milliwatt red laser that's not quite as visible, or maybe not running these at all because they're constantly visible. They can see you more easily in the dark corners that I know you guys are going to hide in the houses. They can see what you're looking at around corners. But at the end of the day, I have found them to be valuable because they allow me to sprint out super fast and they tighten up the accuracy, and those are actually worth revealing my location. Also, people kind of get scared of those. The Akimbo Snake Shots have been around so long and they've dunked so many people that when you see those lasers, you know you're about to go into a serious fight. So there's a nice little psychological intimidation factor going on right there. One of the very few downsides is that you will burn ammo super fast, usually 50 rounds per person. And this tends to be where I have the most difficulty with the weapon, is that as soon as I see somebody, I'm bursting both pistols as fast as humanly possible, and I am dumping bullets downstream like an absolute madman. And by the time one person's dead and I'm done like BMing them and finishing them, because again, I don't know if they have a self-revive or not, it's probably time to reload. Now thankfully the weapon reloads quickly, but you are going to burn that ammo really fast. Having about 50 rounds in the mag means that you are going to have to you have effectively 4 total mags of this that you can spend on people, so do be cautious with it. There are some of you out there that might be crazy enough to try to shoot one at a time and then reload that one while the other one was shooting. And I believe even in the gameplay of this episode, I on accident forgot to reload one and still got a kill with one, I guess, single Akimbo, single hipfire Renetti. Worked very well, but that is a suboptimal strategy. That's a very good way to get yourself killed. I strongly recommend bursting both at the same time. Another downside is that they are a bit harder to be hyper mobile with compared to the simplicity of Akimbo Snake Shot. We're not talking about from a movement speed perspective, but rather from a shot recentering perspective. The Akimbo Snake Shot didn't have much recoil on the hipfire box itself. It didn't kick up very much. The spread was very even in general inside that box. As long as they were in there, most of the pellets were probably going to hit them, and they were just very easy to use without a lot of aim or forethought. Unfortunately, the Akimbo Renettis are traditional hipfire, which means when you're moving fast, they get wider. As you shoot, the box kicks and drags up uncontrollably, which gives you some like aim inaccuracy. And since it's not just a whole ton of pellets, but rather individual bullets, they spread wider and wider as you continue to fire. So there are considerations to be made when you're using this for your movement speed and your stance and how many times you're going to shoot before you take a minute to let them reset and things like that. There's a certain skill, a certain little balance that you'll have to master. I don't think it's particularly hard. I still think it's a great weapon, and I think a lot of you are going to use it. It's not quite as brainless as the Akimbo 357 Snake Shots. And one other benefit that I just kind of put here on the end is that there's no need to worry about ADS penalties. If you want to go off meta and build a class kind of different than what I have, there are some attachments like, say, Monolithic Suppressor, which increase range and gives you suppression, and that's fantastic. And the big penalty there would be that, you know, you'd have to aim down sights slower, but with Akimbo, that just doesn't really apply, and there's no sprint out penalty either. So let's talk about my class. My Akimbo Snake Shot replacement class in Warzone is number 1, you want to run the lightweight trigger so that you can follow up on your shots as quickly as possible. I run the 27 round mags even with the movement speed penalty. I think it's worth it to carry more ammo and just have a lot of ammo to burst people down. Of course, you need to run the burst mod. Doing these without the burst mod, your DPS is going to be a lot lower, and the Akimbo perk. And then after the Akimbo perk, I prefer the 5 milliwatt laser over anything else. If you were not going to run the 5 milliwatt laser, because I know some of you don't want to reveal yourself, I would think probably the Monolithic suppressor would be your best bet because that's going to give you range and sound suppression, though your hipfire is going to be a lot poopier, and even though your bullets have more damage over range, you're going to need to be closer to actually hit your shot. So I don't think that's optimal, but if you want it silent, I would drop the laser and add the monolithic suppressor. One final thing to add at the absolute end of this video is that if you're running the Akimbo Renettis and anyone kills you, blame the RNG on your bullet spread. You only died due to bad luck. If your guns worked the way they were supposed to, if the spread wasn't crazy wide, if, you know, the developers didn't program it wrong, you absolutely would have killed people. And this gives you a nice psychological relief, because I know COD players need a lot of that, a lot of things to blame for why they died instead of bad positioning, bad aim, or getting just outplayed or not getting good. Since your bullets are a little more random, just blame the randomness and protect your fragile ego. Guys, that is all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something. I actually kind of hope that not too many of you use the Akimbo Renettis, because that's going to make my Warzone games really hard, but I know that you will. And if you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.